Mom died on a Tuesday. A quiet, cold Tuesday in November. Everyone told me that grief comes in waves. That I'd cry, break down, scream even. But I didn't. I just stared at the hallway outside my room, at the door she always kept locked. Mother's room. We weren't allowed in there. Ever. Even after she passed, Dad didn't open it. He taped it shut like a crime scene. Said we'd get around to it later. But every night, I could hear something from inside. Soft humming. Furniture shifting. And sometimes, a whisper. Emily. That's my name. It started small. A draft under the door. Lights flickering when I walked past it. My cat, Minnie, wouldn't go near it, just sat at the end of the hallway and growled. One night, around 2 a.m., I saw the doorknob turning. I sat up in bed, frozen. The knob twisted slowly, like someone was testing it, waiting for permission. Then it stopped. Silence. Then a knock, 3 soft raps. Knock. 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 The next morning, I told Dad. He didn't look surprised. He just stared at his coffee and said, "Some doors should stay closed." I began to dream of her. Not the way she was before, kind, warm, sickly. No, in my dreams she was pale. Eyes hollow. Wearing the white funeral dress we buried her in. She would whisper, "Come in, Emily. I saved you something." One afternoon, when I came home from school, the tape was gone from the door. Dad was at work. No one else was home. I should have run. I should have called someone. But instead, I opened the door. The air hit me first. Sweet, thick, like rotting flowers. The room was pristine. Dust-free. Bed perfectly made. Like she'd just stepped out. But everything was wrong. The walls were covered in dozens of Polaroids. Each one showed me. Sleeping. Brushing my hair. Sitting in my room. None of them I remembered being taken. In the center of the room was a wooden box. Etched with our family crest. I opened it. Inside, a doll. Handmade. Porcelain head. Dressed exactly like me. Its face was cracked. Its eyes were replaced with small black stones. It was warm. I found her journal under the bed. March 3rd. She's growing faster than expected. I hear her thoughts sometimes. The doll helps. It binds her to me. April 18th. The dreams return. The thing in the mirror smiles now. It tells me what she'll become. May 6th. Emily isn't just a girl. She's the gate. There were dozens of entries like that. Madness on paper. Was it postpartum? Delusion? No. Because that night, the doll moved. I woke up with it on my chest. Its cracked face stared into mine. I screamed, threw it across the room. Dad burst in. He saw the doll, pale and trembling. "That shouldn't be here," he whispered. "I buried that with her." He grabbed it, stormed outside, and burned it in the fire pit. But that didn't stop it. That night, I dreamed again. She sat on the edge of my bed, stroking my hair. "I was only trying to protect you," she said, voice soft as silk. "But your father, he opened the wrong door." The mirror in Mother's room was now covered by a black sheet. I removed it. Behind the glass, my reflection blinked a second too late. I watched as my reflection smiled, but I didn't. It tilted its head. Lifted its hand. Wrote on the glass, backward. "Let me out." I ran. Locked my bedroom door. The reflection was still behind the glass. Smiling. Dad sat me down the next morning. He looked 10 years older. She was sick, Emily. Not mentally, spiritually. She got into some ritualistic stuff before you were born. Said it would protect you. Make you powerful. He showed me old photographs. Symbols drawn in salt. Circles made of bone and twine. She made you into something more. My hands trembled. What does that mean? She didn't want to be your mother. She wanted to bind herself to you. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a photo I'd never seen. It showed me as a toddler, smiling. Standing in the middle of a ritual circle. The doll returned. Even after we burned it, it appeared again in Mother's room. This time, it was whole, its face no longer cracked. It sat in the center of the bed. The Polaroids were updated. They now showed Dad, sleeping. In the shower. Cooking breakfast. And one of him standing at the foot of my bed, with empty eyes. That night, I found him staring into the mirror. She's coming through, he whispered. You opened it. He began to speak in a voice that wasn't his. His eyes rolled back. Then he collapsed. He never woke up. The mirror cracked. From behind it came a hand, pale, long-fingered, grasping. I ran to the garage. Grabbed Dad's tools. I smashed the mirror. Behind it, a hollow space. Like a tunnel. With walls that pulsed like flesh. A doll's head rolled out. I heard her voice, from everywhere and nowhere. You can't destroy me. You were made to hold me. I packed. I fled. I moved in with my aunt. I don't talk about what happened. No one believes it. The house has since been sold. But some nights, I feel her. In mirrors. In dreams. In reflections that linger too long. Sometimes I wake up with bruises in the shape of hands. Sometimes. I find the doll at my bedside. Smiling. Whole. Buildings rearranged themselves. Their footage became corrupted. Images twisted. Faces blurred into faceless smears. Voices repeated backward or bled into laughter that wasn't theirs. Noah stopped sleeping. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the thing Cassie had described, the man without a face. He wasn't just in the town. He was the town. They made one last desperate attempt to leave, following the river upstream. The water was thick, dark, and full of reflections that didn't match their movements. By nightfall, Marco was gone too. Noah found a final tape sitting on a stone in the riverbed. This one had no name. When he played it, there were no voices, only the sound of the town breathing. The hiss of fog. The dragging of something heavy. And, faintly, a heartbeat. His own. Weeks later, Noah's footage appeared online. No one knew how. The video was corrupted, distorted, and terrifying. It showed glimpses of the town, the symbols on the walls, the tapes. But none of the explorers were visible. Just shadows moving in the distance. It went viral. People searched for Black Hollow. It was never found. Noah's voice can be heard in the final seconds of the video. Don't come looking for us. He's real. He's hungry. He lives in echoes. Then a face fills the screen. No eyes. No mouth. Just skin pulled tight. Then static. Third story. It started with a radio. A beat-up, wood-paneled shortwave I bought at a yard sale for $5. That thing still works, my roommate Kyle asked as I fiddled with the dial in our apartment. I shrugged. Probably not. But it's cool, right? Vintage. He chuckled. More like haunted. That was Sunday. By Monday night, I found a frequency that shouldn't have existed. 103.3 FM. There was no official station registered on it. Just static. Until midnight. Then came the voice. It was raspy. Calm. Almost hypnotic. Good evening, listeners. You've tuned into the midnight broadcast. You're safe now. You've made it this far. Kyle was asleep. I stared at the radio, chills running down my spine. The voice continued. Tonight's story, the man who heard voices through his walls. He thought he was losing his mind. But the voices weren't in his head, they were in you. Then came laughter, low, wet, gurgling laughter. Then silence. Then static. I turned it off. I couldn't sleep. The next day at work, I kept hearing it. The static. Humming from monitors, the printer, even my phone. It didn't stop. At exactly midnight, the radio turned on by itself. Welcome back, dear listener, the voice purred. We knew you'd return. It told another story. About a woman whose dreams bled into reality. Who saw the future, every death, days before it happened. She tried to change it. She failed. The story ended with the woman clawing her own eyes out. I turned it off. But the radio turned itself back on. I recorded the broadcast. Kyle thought I was messing with him until I played it back. But when he listened, there was only static. No story. No voice. Just noise, he said, handing me back the tape recorder. I listened again. The voice was still there. Only I could hear it. And this time, it said my name. You're a good listener, Alex. Each night, a new story. Each one darker. More violent. More personal. One was about a boy who watched his parents burn alive and never told anyone. Another about a man who dreamed about the death of his best friend, then made it happen. But last night's story was the worst. It was about a man who lived alone in an apartment. Bought an old radio. And started hearing a voice. The story ended with, he was warned not to listen. But he kept tuning in. Now he's part of the broadcast. Then, I heard a click. And the voice said, "You're next." I stopped sleeping. I unplugged the radio. It still turned on. One night, the voice changed. It wasn't just a narrator. It was, talking to me. "You've done well," it said. "You kept listening. That's the first step." I shouted, "What are you?" It chuckled. "A collector." Kyle tried to throw the radio out. It reappeared on my desk the next morning. This time, it had new dials. Ones that weren't there before. Each one labeled. Live. Record. Transmit. Only live was lit. I began seeing people from the stories. On the street. At work. On buses. A woman with bloody hands smiled at me in the grocery store. A man with hollow eyes sat across from me on the subway and whispered, "You're next, broadcaster." Kyle went missing on Thursday. All I found was his phone. And a final voice memo. "Alex." I heard it. I finally heard the broadcast. It's not just a story. It's a warning. You're not the listener anymore, man. You're the source. At 3:33 a.m. The dial changed on its own. The frequency jumped to 666 a.m. No static. Just silence. Then whispers. Hundreds of them. They said the same thing in unison, "Tell your story." The mic on the radio lit up. It was recording me. That night, I couldn't stop speaking. I told it everything. My life. My fears. My thoughts. My dreams. The next day, I saw it. A stranger in the train station was listening to his phone, and my voice was coming from it. He looked at me and smiled. "Love your show." It spread. People started reporting weird late-night radio signals. On phones. On TVs. Even in their dreams. A new station was trending online. MidnightBroadcast.com, but it couldn't be accessed by regular browsers. Only by those who had tuned in. I searched for myself on the site. There I was. A live feed. My bedroom. My voice, looping on repeat. Welcome to the broadcast. My reflection no longer matched my movements. It smiled when I didn't. I ran. Left everything behind. Changed cities. New apartment. No internet. No devices. Didn't matter. The voice found me through the wind. Through the hum of the fridge. The flicker of lights. The blinking of clocks. And now? Now I'm writing this from a motel, on the edge of nowhere. But even here, I hear it. A low buzz behind every silence. Waiting. Growing. And if you've read this far, you've already heard it too. Check your radio. Tune to 103.3 FM. And listen carefully. You're next.